Okay, welcome back everybody to another episode of PEWTER.halfpints. I'm Jason, this is David. This is the podcast where we talk about everything construction while consuming pints of beer, but it is currently the AM, so we are not drinking beer, we're drinking coffee, which is just as good sometimes.
We're not going to do tasting notes, don't worry.
Nay, Bob. Okay, so what do you want to talk about today, Dave?
Let's do 5 components that go into funding a construction project. You want to do a major renovation, you get 3 quotations or 3 estimates. What are the components that you should see in those estimates? What should you be looking for? What should you be seeing? And then how do those actually impact the final product that you should expect to receive?
Okay, number 1, I believe, should be your basic scope of work, your general construction scope of work.
Yeah, if you don't have an actual itemized scope of work on an estimate that's presented to you, how do they possibly account for everything that needs to happen, right? It's how do you know what you're getting? How do they know what they're supposed to provide you? And if the more detail-oriented that scope of work is, the more accurate it's going to be, and the more thought will have to go into it ahead of time, and the more secure the project is going to be. But that one kind of goes without saying. Everybody should be doing that. I know there's guys out there who do just half-page quotations and say, yeah, we'll do the project for X. We have heard that exists. I don't know why anybody would do that, but it is what it is.
As a consumer, I'd stay away from those quotes.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely want a scope of work. So next.
All right. Item number 2, an outline of finishing materials.
Yeah. So the finished materials, like generally the higher end the material is, the more money it costs. That's going to skew a portion of the budget, but also the higher end the material, the better the process should be installing that material, right? Yeah. When we're doing giant sheets, giant slabs of tile, that requires special attention, specialized tools,
specialized labor.
Yeah, like it's not a joke to do something like that. And if you break one, they are very expensive, right? So naturally, that is going to cost more across the board, right? We've done crazy door setups, right? Like hidden, concealed hinges.
Or even just having solid wood trim. Like, I mean, if you bought MDF trim that's pre-primed, you literally just spray it once, slap it on, touch it up, and then it's done. But if you have solid wood trim, you gotta sand it, prime it, sand it, paint it, sand it, install it, and then paint it again.
Yeah. So that's definitely, if somebody, apples to apples, the trim line item is the trim line item. But if one guy's doing solid wood and the other company is not, there's going to be a big discrepancy there. So
just on the materials alone, holy.
Yeah. Next.
Okay, next, business overhead.
Business overhead.
This is something that's definitely going to vary quite drastically from company to company.
Yeah, so you're going to have the 2 guys in a truck working out of their garage, and then you're going to have companies like us that have, 2 office spaces, showroom, all the samples ready to go for you, tool storage, and then the other place we have storage that our clients are able to use for appliances, or we can store materials there as the project is going on. If you need a delivery but it doesn't make sense to bring it on site, we have a place for it. And then on top of that, we have a spray booth. So
we're not the only contractor to have that, but guys who do have that are going to be more expensive, but in return you do get better service from it, you get better quality.
It's just smoother, right? Yeah. We have workshop areas. If we want to build special products, we can build them here and then bring them on site ready to go, so it's not taking up space on the site or whatever. It's just a hell of a lot smoother. Going to be a different experience, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And then next on the docket, or it should be on your quote, is a line item for project management.
Absolutely. Do you want somebody dedicated to actually managing the project? Do you want funds dedicated to somebody being able to take time away from the site and spend it organizing your project, right? The bigger the company is, you're probably going to have an actual dedicated project manager. They might be managing 2-3 projects at a time. but that's their full-time job, right? And that's going to give you a far different result and experience than if you were to, have no line item there. There's no funds dedicated to that, and the guy has to juggle, work everything, physically work on site to carve out his wage, and then project manage on the side, right? Far more stressful for the contractor and probably going to translate to results for you, the customer, the homeowner.
And stress. I mean, think about if you do not want to micromanage your contractor, make sure there's a project management line item, which that way you have your dedicated project manager to your project.
Okay, so
That's
lastly,
a project too many times there.
Yeah, that's okay. Lastly, and the most overlooked, I would say, but probably the most important, we have a general labor line item. Some firms are going to label that as, contingency or whatever it is, but you should have some portion of your project funded specifically for all these random little menial tasks that nobody thought of. During the quoting process, you're just not going to pick up on, right? Like HVAC guy shows up to do a pre-inspection because they're putting a tankless hot water system in tomorrow, and they say, hey, like, build us a wall here. Do you have a line item for that? Or are you expected to get a bill for this random little act, right? The framer's not going to pick up on something like that, right? So you have to have some sort of contingency built into the project to make it smooth, just reduce the stress levels for both the contractor and then yourself, right? Plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great way to avoid extra billing, which nobody likes.
Yeah. So if you receive quotations and you don't see these 5 things itemized on it, I would seriously consider other options, because there are, it's either going to be a hole in the contractor's pocket that they're not going to be able to absorb, and you're going to have to step up to the plate at some point in time and have an awkward conversation, or you don't,
right?
Or it's all there, right?
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, hopefully you guys found this one interesting, helpful in some way, shape, or form. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to throw them down below, and check us out. Our website, Instagram, everything is just PEWTER.build. So hope you guys have a great day and take care.
Thanks for listening.